Hello, welcome. My name is AJ and I'm a filmmaker. I run a media production company and I help businesses connect with their audience using video. But this channel is not about that. This channel is a personal project and journey that I wanted to document and share. And I invite you to follow along if you want. So recently I've had the urge to get into analog photography after stumbling across Willem Verbeek and Matt Day, two awesome YouTubers in this field. The thing that draws me to analog photography is the process behind it. So I'm the type of person that enjoys the process of creating something the most. For example, like brewing a cup of coffee. I enjoy the process of brewing more than I do than the end result. The end result is just a bonus to me. And shock, a filmmaker talking about coffee. But anyways, I enjoy it, so deal with it. Brewing a cup of coffee, right? You've got the certain amount of grams, you have the certain amount of time that you let it bloom, you let it brew, and then you pour yourself a cuppa. Like that, to me, is such a meditative and mindful sort of practice. And that's what drew me to analog photography. So I shoot obviously digital because I'm a filmmaker, and the thought processes that always go through my mind when I'm on a shoot or if I'm doing something personal is, I can fix that later in post, right? If, I don't do a transition properly, it's like, oh, I can fix it later, for example. So the process of analog photography and the thought that needs to go behind composing each shot, the thought behind all your settings, and yes, you do use it in SLR, but like I said, you can always fix it later pretty much. And that's what's drawing me to analog photography. It's the process behind it. It's the, hey, take a step back, think about your composition, think about your shot. You've only got a certain amount of shots to take, make sure it works. And that's why I've wanted to get into it. So next, I needed to find an SLR camera. I've been doing a bunch of research. Everyone's saying get the Canon A1, the Canon F1, the Pentax K1000. So that's what I initially set out to do. And I was browsing the internet, I was browsing Facebook Marketplace. I was reaching out to a couple and they didn't really know how to answer my question in terms of camera ergonomics and all that sort of stuff, because that is important to me. And I know for a fact that if I don't have a camera that is comfortable for my hands, for me, then I know I won't be using it. Having never held one of these SLR cameras, I didn't really know what I was looking for. And then I reached out to one guy who's now a buddy. His name's Sam Davis, and he had a Pentax K1000 for sale. I reached out, I said, hey, do you have that K1000 still available? Can I come around and look? And he responded, sorry mate, just sold it, but I've got a whole bunch of other cameras that you can come and have a look at. So I said, cool, sounds good. I'm happy to come out and have a look. I went out and saw him, and Sam comes out and brings out a whole bunch of cameras, and I'm going, whoa, there's like 6 or 7 different types of SLR cameras there. There was, the Pentax ME Super, there was a Yashica, there was a Minolta, and I can't remember the rest. But I was having to play with all of them, and I said, look, which one of these feels more like the A1 or the K1000, blah, blah, blah. And he said this one here, which was a Minolta. And anyways, I was holding it and it was massive. I was stretching to try and reach a shutter dial. The focus ring was just too far away, and it took too long to sort of turn as well. And I said, no, this one doesn't feel right. So I knew that the K1000, the Canon A1, he told me that they were on the more bulkier side, they're more to that size. I knew that they weren't the camera for me. So I picked up this Pentax ME Super, and it was much smaller. And I held it with a 50mm on there, and I said, wow, this is the size that I want. This is the size that suits me. I could reach everything really well. The shutter dial was there. It was great. But the thing I didn't like about the Pentax ME Super was that it had an aperture priority shutter dial. I wanted my first SLR camera to be completely manual. I wanted to have the controls. I didn't want any sort of assistance at all. And so I said to him, I'm like, Sam, this one feels so good. Literally, if this just had a manual shutter speed dial, I would 100% be buying this right now off you, but I just can't commit to it because I don't like that I don't have control there. And Sam goes, all right, look, I've got this one camera out the back that fits exactly what you're saying. It's his favorite camera. It was his first camera. And so Sam comes back with the Pentax MX. I would have never have discovered this. There is not much about this online. Not many people review it, but that just goes to show that you shouldn't chase trends. You should find the camera that works best for you. Now look, it's pretty much the same size as the ME Super. I think it was a little bit bigger, but still perfect for my hands. Like, it fits really nice. It's got the manual shutter speed dial, exactly what I needed. And it's got a beautiful piece of glass on here, which is the 50 millimeter 1.4, which is from Pentax as well. And cheers, Sam. So this was the right camera for me. So when I got home with the MX, I looked it up on Google and saw that they were built from 1976 to 1985. And then that's when it blew my mind. Just thinking about all the places it's been in its time and the photos that it's taken, and now it's within my hands, and I'm excited to think about all the photos that I'm going to take with it. So that's the backstory to my project, and today I'm going to be reviewing my first roll of film. I got it developed the other day by Black and White Photographics here in Adelaide, and yeah, we're gonna see what they look like. Hopefully they're not all trash, but I'm expecting them to be not so good, because this was all about me getting to know the camera, getting to know the in-camera light meter, getting to know the settings and how it feels and how it shoots. So think of this as the first date and me trying to get the camera to open up to me and for me to open up to the camera. And so let's jump into the computer and get into it. All right, cool. So as you can see, we've got 35 exposures, which is great. The film stock I chose to shoot with for my first roll was Portra 400. Everybody read it's the most forgiving, and when I went to go buy some from Black and White Photographics, they told me, yeah, look, it's probably the best one to start with. And so I grabbed a roll of Portra 400. Now, a couple of the compositions I took twice. One of the frames was to the correct exposure as per the in-camera light meter, and then the next frame would be one stop over. So I did that so I could try and get an understanding of, you know, what the in-camera light meter is metering. So again, this is just to get to know the camera. All right, let's get into it. Number one, which looks pretty shonky. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, you can see that this was a test shot, not in focus. I'm pretty sure I didn't even mean to shoot this frame, and yeah, this just looks funny. Okay, cool. So yeah, this one sucks. Obviously, won't be using that. Number two. Okay, cool. So number two. Yeah, look, not too sharp. That could be from the film. I know when I was taking this, it was more of a test. But you know, like, this positioning of where I am is just, the composition is not very nice. It definitely could be better, but for the second shot ever, it's okay. I can tell that it is, the in-camera light meter is metering for the highlights. So the highlights look well exposed. I've got no information in the shadows here, which sucks. So next time I'm thinking that I need to meter for the shadows over the highlights. But anyways, I mean, look how cool this picture is. I know I took a couple of this from different angles, so let's keep going. Number three, yep, another composition. I thought the composition was okay. We've got the roadworks here happening on the side, and then we've got the image of, or this big painting of the guy with his eyes being covered. It's exposed for the highlights, and the shadows are very dark and grainy and no information at all. I have a feeling this is going to be a trend for the rest of the pictures, but hey, you know, we've got a picture, that's okay. Yeah, this was the composition that I liked the most. I liked that the head pretty much sits perfectly in between the tree and this building here. As you can see, it almost lines up perfectly with the squares on the building behind. You know, that was pretty far back. So I like this composition. Again, the shadows too dark. Could have been good. Maybe if it was a little bit closer as well. I mean, look at that. It's just black. And yeah, again. So this one must have been number 4. Must have been perfect exposure, and then that one was one stop over. So yeah, you can kind of see a little bit of bright. Oh, I mean, there's a slight difference. So, but still, shadows not saved. This one's cool. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this. It was the 1967 Volkswagen. So this was the car. And I mean, this photo is okay. It's a bit bright there, a bit blown out there, but yeah, it's okay. This one I really like. I think this image is usable. It looks well exposed. It's pretty clean, it's pretty sharp. There's a nice amount of grain. I like it. Oh, look at that. It's okay not to, I'm gonna guess that says no. It's okay to not know the way. And I think that's on the inside. That's awesome. I didn't even know that was there when I took it, but look how sharp that is. That's clean. I like this photo. I'll be using this. It's awesome. Okay, yes, so this image here, not usable. The composition I was going for was getting this lady painting in the background to be overlooking this overgrown bush on this long wall. As you can see, probably the focal length wasn't the best. I did want to come back a little bit more, but as I did, the car park that was just to my right was full, and I was getting the front end of the car in the frame, and that was annoying me. So yeah, not usable, not exposed properly. Yeah, it could have been good, but yeah, it didn't work out. And then here's another frame. So this one, yeah, so that's the correctly exposed as per the light meter, and it was one stop over. So the highlights look a bit more washed. It looks a bit more washed in the one stop over, but again, yeah, not usable. Oh, I do like the greens here. The greens here are pretty nice. I thought this composition was pretty cool. Abandoned furniture. There's a coffee table, turned over couch, and this was the correctly exposed frame, and this is one stop over. So highlights are blown out in the one stop over. Just way too bright, I think. I wouldn't use that. And this one's a bit too dark. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I mean, composition, in my opinion, I think is okay. The colors, exposure could be better. Anyways, moving on. Okay, this one's a pretty cool composition. It looks okay. I'm pretty happy with the colors and the exposure. I love this blue tinge. That's what drew me to it, and this looks pretty close to real life. Dark over there in the shadows inside, but again, I don't think in real life you could really see in there properly. So, I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy with that. All right. Okay. So this one here, cool little shot. I like the colors. When I'm shooting film, for some reason, I'm just attracted to these abandoned, dirty, old looking things. The kind of, I don't know what I did here, but the shadow from down here, as you go into the next one, pretty much moves to the top. So yeah, I don't know what I did there. But anyways, it's an okay shot. Might use it. Oh, yeah. So these next few images of me shooting the bridge and everything around the bridge, it was a very bright scene with the sky. And so, you know, from knowing that the in-camera light meter exposes for the highlights, these shadows are gonna be disgusting. Look at the grain in this. Oh, it's so bad. This is okay. I don't mind this frame. It's exposed pretty well. I like it. I'd probably use this. Photo of the bridge, yeah, look at that. It's just grainy. Oh, too much grain for me. Not a fan, not a fan. Not using this. This is getting depressing now. It's okay, we will learn. The next roll is going to be better. So this composition would have been sick because we had two jetties here. I think I moved over in one of them. Yeah, this one would have been good. We had two jetties here, center. We had this tower that was to the left, and then I had this little power plant type thing to the right, which was projecting, or which was emitting this smoke and fog out the top, as you can sort of see here. It would have been an awesome landscape. Like, we would have had lines for days, boom, and then up, 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 up. That would have been good. There were dolphins here, right? So I was shooting down in Port Adelaide, and in the wharf here there was dolphins. And so I'm happy I captured the dolphin, but everything else sucks. Oh my gosh, like it's sort of like a clear overcast day. So, you know, this does not match real life at all. But look how cool that is. I caught the dolphin. Depressing. Oh yep, this is okay. I saw the leaves here. I didn't get this part in focus, the stump, which I wanted in focus. This is cool. Again, attracted to just old things when I'm shooting film. Yeah, I mean, this is okay. Exposed all right, the colors are pretty right. I mean, it's probably a bit too bright here. Yeah, so this composition was, I remember taking this and thinking this one was going to be awesome if I got the settings right. So yeah, look, love the boat here. Just as boats here sitting in front of the Australian Marine and Fisheries Academy. We got the no parking sign there, and then I've got this little bike and man image painted on the walkway here. The shadows in here are very dark. In real life, you could see through there, but you know, I'm kind of happy that it didn't work out that way, because this no parking sign is just boom in your face. It sticks out, and you know, we've got these two poles that, and I didn't even intend for that part, the two poles here to be perfectly aligned, but you know, they just fill in that space nicely. There's nice lines in this. I'm happy with it, although up here is a bit dark and grainy, but that's okay. I was happy about this composition as well. I chucked this one up on my Instagram story. We had this red and white old boat that sort of just pointed back. You look back, and what I was trying to do was use the lines of this boat as you look down, and then your eyes would travel all the way to the old red lighthouse. Dogs barking. Yeah, so as I was saying, so the lines from this boat leading all the way out to the red and white lighthouse, that was what I was going for. It's okay, the sky's a bit blown out, so it's kind of like real flat along this side, but I'm pretty happy with this. I will use this for sure. Frame 27. Yeah, I mean, this composition was pretty cool. We had the old abandoned building, again, just shooting old stuff, but I like the colors that it has from here. Like, this is pretty real to life. That's pretty close to what that's pretty spot on to what it was in real life. So I love those colors. That artwork is actually pretty cool. Shift. Would have been better if this pole wasn't in the way, but that's all right. And it would have been better if this playground wasn't there either. But yeah, it's an okay image. Once this was a one stop over, and this was correctly exposed. So, I mean, the lines are pretty cool. It's a bit of a nothing image again. There's a bit of change in color as well. A bit more of a magenta look on the one stop over. And then a bit of a green tinge on the correctly exposed. So I don't know what happened there. I'll have to ask the boys, or if you guys know, let me know what you think that might be, why there's a difference in that. Is that just because of the way that I've exposed it? Probably. I don't know if it's just the scan, it's not too sharp. Maybe it's me, maybe it's the glass. I'll need to figure that out. So if you guys, is it meant to be is it meant to be like this sharp? Like, I feel like it could be sharper, or am I tripping and wanting too much? Oh, the cool little bird up here, didn't notice that. This one was a weird image. You can obviously tell it's blown out here. It was like a community library book box. You would donate books in here and then someone would take one and you'd return one. What I tried to capture in this composition was, yeah, the dolphins and then the one damn thing, which I did. But yeah, I mean, it didn't turn out to anything special. And I'm pretty sure when I was taking it, I didn't think it was gonna be anything special, but that's okay. We're moving on. What drew me to this one? The shadows on the grass. I wanted to see what the greens would look like. So I love the green here and I love the green there. This section looks pretty cool, but it didn't expose probably because look at the shadows again, too dark. Yeah, I mean, the greens are pretty nice, so that's a plus. Yeah, again, nothing special. Not a big fan of this composition. What I was going for was the green versus the industrial abandon in the background, you know, sort of like death and life in the foreground. I could have done better, and I'll do better next time. This image sucks. Shadows too dark. We've got sort of leading lines, but I mean, your eye follows down and you go straight into a bin. Don't know what I was thinking. And yeah, this one actually cropped way more than I was expecting it. I thought I had the whole boat ramp in frame, but yeah, I didn't obviously. And you can see highlights blown out, shadows too dark. Yeah, not too good. But yeah, there we go. That's my first 35 exposures on Portra 400. Okay, well, that was fun. You know, overall, I was happy with the compositions. I've obviously got to work on my metering and my exposures. Yeah, I'm happy with the first roll. I'm happy that I didn't get a blank roll back. I'm happy that there wasn't any light leaks. You know, there were clean images. I just needed to work on those settings. So again, thank you, Sam, for selling me an awesome camera. I love it. And we got to shoot soon. Now next I've got Kodak 400 TX, which is a black and white film stock that I'm going to be loading up and testing out next to see if I like black and white. If I like black and white better than the color. That'll be fun, that'll be interesting. The first couple videos on this channel will most likely be me just trying to get to know it. And then we can, you know, get real creative with it, and I'm excited for that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to follow along with my journey in analog photography. If you have any tips or comments, leave them down below. And other than that, cheers. I'll see you next week. Nah, I'm not doing that cliche. Yeah.